Thank you so much, Dwayne and Shahzaib, for taking the time to join us for this conversation. I'm so looking forward to this exciting conversation, which is so close to my heart. I'm an athlete at my heart. I have been a sports person from a very young age, and I still love to, stay that way. So I would love to start this podcast with our usual signature question, which is, what does the word bloom mean to you?
Dwayne, you want to tackle that question first?
Yeah, so for me, bloom, like I think most people when they think of the word bloom is about the flower, right? But there's actually another part of the definition about bloom being like a piece of metal, kind of like a forge, right? Like you can take the piece of metal and hammer it away. And so through my life, through this journey, especially through these challenges, I feel like I've been through that forge and I've been through the bloom process. And so right now, you're actually seeing the very beginning stages of like the man that I've become. But it's really because my life has been in that forge for so long. So I feel like that would be my definition of bloom that fits my purpose the most.
Awesome. Thank
Okay,
you.
that's great. For me, the word bloom would probably be similar to what Dwayne just explained. I think it's you go through many challenges, you go through many changes, and everything that you're able to learn and pick up, and maybe even some of the stuff that you're able to let go of throughout that journey is what bloom is for me. Be it on the field, off the field, you make mistakes, you learn from them, and not only that, but the people you're able to connect with throughout that entire journey and the people that you're maybe able to inspire if you're lucky enough throughout that journey, the changes you're able to make, the impact you're able to have in other people's life. I think that's what bloom really means to me, to grow, but not just in an individual manner, to grow in a way that it impacts the people that are around you, and maybe more specifically the people that you really care about, the people that you hang out around every single day. So yeah.
Wow, powerful definitions. Thank you, both of you. My next question is, what would you say to our audience that how this conversation today will impact their lives and what lessons they can learn from this conversation that we are about to have on this episode?
Dwayne, do you want to go first, or you want me to?
I'll go ahead. So
Okay.
for me, I feel like they'll understand that you can overcome any type of adversity. I've overcome a tragic shooting that I was a part of as a bystander. And the other part is, I was misdiagnosed with a blood cancer for 18 years. So there's a lot of lessons in that. And so, that's also part of the coaching program I go through is I teach those people how to, I tell people it's to overcome adversity, unlikely, untimely circumstances. And so I feel like when people actually listen to me, that they get inspired, not motivated, but inspired, and they make a change in their life, and they make some changes, and hopefully something consistent happens. That's the thing, is like I believe in change, but I believe in consistent change.
Okay. First of all, Dwayne, I'm very sorry to hear about the misfortune that you mentioned. I'm really sorry. And again, it is very strong of you to, have gone through those challenges and to have come out a better person, have to come out stronger, learn things. For me, what I would say that people can really pick up or take away from this podcast would be that, no matter what kind of problem you see or what kind of problem you face, the one thing they should always have in mind is that it can be solved. Whether it's sports related, whether it's health related, because these days, those problems are quite up there, health, diseases, all that. Whether it's financial, spiritual, emotional, any kind of problem, there is always a way out. Some problems will take longer than others. Some problems will be harder than others. They might, affect you. They might leave a deeper wound, but there is always a way. There's always a solution. I think that's the issue these days, is that maybe it's because we're so used to such quick solutions that when there's not one, it almost immediately puts you in the state that, oh, there's not going to be a solution to this, period, which is never really the case. I have this saying that a really dear friend of mine told me. They said, you're never the first person to have gone through a problem. Whatever you're going through, in this day and age that we live in, 2025, you're never the first person to be going through a certain problem. There's always people before you that went through it, And so there's always people that have talked about it, maybe found a solution or on their way to find a solution. So never really look at a problem that, oh, I can't find a solution to this. Maybe take a backseat, think, come back again, try to solve it, but never let a problem put you down. You know, similar to what Dwayne here said, that always be resilient in the face of an adversity. So I hope at least that's what people are able to take away from this conversation.
That is such a powerful message to start this conversation with, and I would love to build our conversation around this. And I know it's Dwayne's life's journey and the inspiration that he shares with other people as well. That overcoming adversity and not taking any circumstance too seriously that you feel hopeless about it. There's always solution. You just have to have that mindset where you want to overcome that adversity and be be creative about finding a solution. There are solutions, of course. You just have to look at the problem from maybe a different lens, from a different aspect, and you will come up with a solution maybe better than everyone else who has been through those challenges and those problems. That is such a powerful message. And I love having these conversations, especially with people who are, sports people who have athletic background, because I feel somehow sports, it prepares you, it changes you in a very different way. You have a very positive perspective towards life. And that is so exciting about this conversation, guys. I'm so looking forward to that. So building on that, overcoming adversity, Dwayne, I would like to ask you this question. Can you walk us through what you went through in your life and where you are today? Take us through that valley of your journey, so we can learn from that, and our audience can especially see those kind of things happen to real human beings. But what matters is really what you come out as, how strong you are, what you learn from that, and what are your conclusions and how that changes your life in a positive way.
Okay, so I feel like the number one thing for me is to explain to the audience, to the listeners, first of all, thanks for their time, like wherever they're listening from, whatever time they're listening from, morning, afternoon, evening. It's just, I value time, especially in my situation. I really value time. Everyone should value their time. So I just want to thank the listeners first, and thank you for, graciously hosting me. And so I feel like the best way to do it is to tell a little bit about what's going on so they have an understanding of where I am now. And so I am a former international basketball player at the age of 19. I shouldn't have been there. That's the other aspect of it. I didn't play my junior or senior year of high school. There was no path for me to get there. And so, but I learned a very valuable lesson while I was overseas. I met this 5-year-old boy, and he taught me my foundation, or my core principle, of gratitude. I met this 5-year-old boy who had not eaten in 3 days. And so it blew me away. It was the first time I had ever met someone in that type of situation. And so for me, I never had to worry about, food, water, or shelter. Those 3 essential things, I just never had to worry about. And so through that, and through some of these challenges that I'm going to talk about, you can understand why I had this, because what I realized was sometimes our nightmares are other people's dreams. And I'll say that again, is sometimes our nightmares are other people's dreams. Yes. And so I came back from being overseas. So I wasn't paid. I was not a professional athlete. I was over on a mission trip. I came over here, got an agent. He was talking to different teams. As I was working out, I hurt my left knee. I ended up having knee surgery. My knee surgery went bad. I decided to retire. I felt like I hit my ceiling. I was like, okay, time to do life. So as I'm trying to figure out what I want, at 29, I get diagnosed with a rare blood cancer. And so this rare blood cancer, there was only 200,000 people that had it. I was initially told 5 years. Later on, I was told 15. In my mind, I didn't want to have a wife or kids because I did not want to leave anyone. I didn't want anyone to carry my burden. And so another part of the gratitude part, someone else is going through worse. Same thing with the shooting. It will be 3 years this May. I was driving by, taking my little niece to get ice cream, and a criminal took a hidden gun, shot a police officer, tragically killed him. And through that, there was a crossfire, and I was driving by, and a bullet struck the truck that I was driving. And so, if the bullet would have been an eighth of an inch to the left, it would have killed me. But if the bullet would have been an eighth of an inch to the right, it would have killed my little niece, who was 3 years old at the time. And so, again, I was dealing with PTSD and survivor's guilt, but I still knew that other people had it worse. My nightmare is still someone else's dream. And so then in March of last year, I found out I was misdiagnosed. I was 100% healthy, except I had severe sleep apnea, something that I could have overcame in like a month time and been back in the same place. But instead I had this 18-year journey. And so it's one of those things. It's like, you have to understand, like, sometimes we just have to go through stuff. Life happens. And sometimes, you can have the greatest outlook, but until you get punched in the mouth and kicked in the gut while you're down, that really is what makes you, who you are. And so that's how I learned resiliency. But it also, when I was a little kid, how I fell in love with basketball was, I was 4 years old, and this is before you could like move a basketball, go down, the height. So at 10 foot, at 4 years old, I was heaving the basketball, not a mini basketball, because they didn't make those at that time. And my goal was to hit the net. And then guess what? When I started hitting the net, it was to hit the rim. And then to hit the rim, it was to get the ball to hit the shot. And then it went from, I'm starting to do this a lot more. So same thing. And so I feel like that's part of the journey is like all these things prepare you. And sports is an amazing, amazing lesson. I actually talk about it all the time, is like, the core principles of sports can all translate over to life. And that's why you'll see some athletes that really, really get it. And then you have some athletes that can't leave the game because the game has structured their life so much, they don't know how to leave.
Yeah, that is wonderful. And I'm sorry to hear, about what happened, the misdiagnosed part of the disease that you never had, and you missed 18 years of your life. I'm so glad to hear that you came out stronger and you have a lesson to share, with others. And we will come to that part as well. But I also want to touch on the same message with Shahzaib, that how the spirit of sports translate into your life, your personal life, right? How your life changes if you are a sports person, and whatever you learn as a sportsman, you translate into your personal life over time.
Yeah, sure. First of all, again, I appreciate Dwayne for opening up. I know it's not easy, so thank you for that. And as for how sports translates to real life, I think it's really just it's a trend. You see a trend in your life. That's all it is. Because sports, one of the biggest things and one of the most undeniable things in sports is repetitions. You need repetitions, no matter where you are, what level you're playing, whether you're born with a lot of natural talent or none. Repetitions will always be there, no matter what sport you're playing. And so when you keep doing the same thing or similar things every single day, you start seeing yourself do similar things in other aspects of your life. For example, being disciplined about training every single day. If you're punctual, you're getting to training on time, you're making sure to bring everything with you, you're responsible for your stuff, you're responsible for your behavior on the court or on the field, you'll start seeing the same kind of responsibility and punctuality and discipline translate into other parts of your life. For example, you're getting to class on time. If you have a job, you're getting to that job on time. You're responsible for the work. You're responsible for whatever duties you have, maybe at home. Maybe you're a father, right? So you have responsibilities as a father. You're being more responsible with them. You're disciplined as to when you go to sleep, when you eat, what you're putting in your body, what you're putting in your mind. What you're consuming in terms of media and everything. So I think these little aspects of sports start translating into your life, and I think it's kind of impossible for them not to if you really invest into your sport, because the passion and the love for the game, it's so deeply rooted into your soul almost, that it's hard to keep it away from everyday's life, And another thing I would like to say, I saw how Dwayne, you mentioned about, survivor's guilt and PTSD. Another thing I would like to mention is that in today's world, due to social media and just media in general, I think a lot of us, without realizing, we become a little desensitized, or at least less sensitized, towards these kind of accidents happening. And I think if it really takes someone to go through that to understand how deep of a wound or how big of a scar it can leave. It stays with you, it sticks with you. So I would just, more strength to you, Dwayne. And again, I really appreciate you opening up about it, because I can only imagine how hard it is for you. So you have a lot of strength in that. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly. Same thoughts on that. So, Dwayne, I would love to know how you are using that message that you developed over time, of resiliency, of overcoming adversity, and living a purposeful life. What does it look like now?
Yeah, so my purpose is to help others. So I feel like these challenges happen to me, and actually, I don't believe it happened to me anymore. But to what most people understand, it happened to me. Like something happened, right?
Yeah.
And so, if I would have talked to you probably 2 months ago, I would say it happened, to me, and then I realized, oh no, it actually happened for me, because like I wouldn't be on here. There's different things, like there's different levels of this. But then I had a really great mentor to really explain it to me. She's like, no, these happen through you, because I'm taking these experiences and I'm able to facilitate and serve it to you because I was strong enough to be able to withhold it. And so once I started to understand that, I understood that I had a purpose. And it was like, how could I use these stories to help other people and let them learn the lesson without actually having to go through the circumstance, right? And so, and that's why I created my program, because when I really needed something and I was looking for it, I couldn't find it. And so for me, I had to create something because I felt like I needed to be able to be kept consistent. And it's like when in any team sport or any individual sport, if you have a coach and they're blowing the whistle, they're teaching you how to do stuff. And when you have other people around, then you're competing, correct? And so I decided, hey, I needed a community to keep me consistent. But with this community, I'm also helping others, and I'm also helping them stay consistent. And so I felt like that was one of the biggest things. And then the story itself is pretty unbelievable. And so I believe that just the power of that story attracts people to understand that, like, hey, I overcame obstacles that, like, I believe I'm kind of like a tier one. I don't think anyone else really has done this, has gotten this path, and I also believe that what I can teach people is the resiliency, being persistent, but also the kindness. Like, I'm a forgiving person. I'm not upset at the doctor. Like, I don't think he maliciously misdiagnosed me. I just don't feel that way. And so I feel like this is a really good lesson for people to understand that you can go through things and still love people, be kind, and still be forgiving too. So that is probably one of the biggest lessons out of this whole thing that I feel like other people can learn from me, is just be kind, love, and grace. Like, I'm a very spiritual person. Treat other people with grace.
Going off what Dwayne just said, this actually reminds me of something I read a while back, I believe, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this quote. It was basically that you can't control what happens to you, but you can you can control how you react to it. Sorry. So, and I think that's a very important lesson, is that your outlook is the one thing that will always be in your control. It can be affected by external factors, but at the end of the day, if something happens to you, and this applies to sports as well, because there will always be victory and failure in sports. You're not always going to win. Even the greats, they never always win. But if your outlook towards whatever the result is, whatever is happening around you, is positive, even from the failures you can learn, right? So that's another thing that I would really like to highlight here, going off what Dwayne said, is that, you know, focus on controlling your reaction or where you're putting your energy, and then maybe worry later about what's happening around you, or, you know, how other things are affecting you, I think.
Right. I just want to jump in real quick. So
Sure,
I just
sure.
want to tell you. So instead of saying failures, so me as a mindset coach, like failure has
Right,
such a negative tone. You learn a
right,
lesson. So like when a basketball game is over and the score, I ran out of time. That's it. And when you
right,
start flipping that switch, like when I work with athletes, we just ran out of time, guys. That's it. You ran out of
right,
time. You didn't lose. I believe that those losses and failures they're lessons if you understand it's a lesson and you
right,
take that in and you apply it. But if you take it as a loss or failure, then there's two ways to look at things, especially with athletics. You
right,
can look at them from a sledgehammer, or you can look at it with a flashlight. And so
right,
the sledgehammer is like, if I have a bad game and I don't want to think about it, then I just want to take the sledgehammer and break it down like a brick, right? I throw it away in the trash. But if I take it with a flashlight, I'm actually like eliminating the mistakes. And so those are lessons and stuff like that. So I just want to share that, you know, because we are talking about athletics. So,
mhm,
you know, I studied sports psychology for a little while. And it's kind of funny is through this full circle thing is like now I'm teaching athletes mental performance. So instead of being
right.
a sports psychologist, I still doing what I felt like I wanted to do and I dreamed about. So
No, that's a great point. You're absolutely right. I mean, think of it like that. Yeah, you know, we always talk about learning from our failures, but it's these little things. Instead of calling it a failure, you call it a lesson. These little things that can really make the difference. So I really appreciate you pointing that out. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the conversation back and forth between you guys because everything that you are saying, it applies to not just the athlete's life, right? Not just the sports person, but people in general. Of course, athletes and sports people, they are real people, and everything they go through, the way they see life, it's real experiences. And the beauty of those experiences and lessons is that anybody can apply those lessons to their life, right? To use them as a guide light. And as you guys were talking about overcoming adversity and going through life experiences and having a positive outlook on them, it resonated really deeply with me, you know, because I feel like I have rebuilt my life multiple times from scratch, without any guide, without any help out there, because honestly, coming from small town in Pakistan and not having any role model, I literally carved my own path and I made my own mistakes. And from those mistakes, I learned lessons. And the next time when I had the opportunity to rebuild my life, I used those skills that I learned from those experiences, and I did better job than I did the last time. And then on that path, because I like to believe that I'm a spiritual person, and I practice a spirituality, and spirituality really prepares you for these kind of experiences in life, and it tells you what meaning you associate with those kind of experiences, and the people who gave you hard time or wronged you in a traditional sense of the word. I don't think anybody can wrong you in life. Just as you said, Dwayne, those doctors, their intent was not malicious. They didn't want to purposely take those years away from you, but it happened for a reason. And similar in my case, I believe whatever happened, whoever did whatever they did to me, they were my teachers. They helped me learn very important lessons in my life. And if those people were not around in my life at that time, I would not learn those lessons and not become the person that I am today. I'm more patient, I'm more forgiving, I'm more understanding, and I have more compassion, not just for others, but for myself too. I understood the message that I am also a human being. I am also those people that, we talk about and interacting with love and compassion and forgiveness and help them. Why not start that help with yourself, and help yourself first? Have compassion for yourself and understand yourself. It's okay, we make mistakes, but learning from those mistakes and applying the lessons on our life when we move forward at the next stage, that is the beauty of life. And whether we are sports persons or whatever we do as our profession in our life or hobbies and activities, we must remember that we are people, we make mistakes, other people make mistake as well. And what we can do, the way we grow is just, overcome those adversities, learn our lessons and be better human beings. I think that is the goal. So I would love to know from both of you how you are applying those lessons in your life right now. Give me an example, because I'm so intrigued, and for my audience especially, I want to highlight the importance of learning the lessons and applying those lessons into your life on day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so the lesson for me is like, you have to be consistent. And so to keep me consistent, I actually have this, what I call Dwayne's daily plan of attack. And so I'll just let y'all know, it's really hard to have your own stuff if you share the name with Dwayne Johnson. So he has a lot of stuff. But so this is mine, Dwayne's daily plan of attack. It's these 4 core principles, and you can apply them in any way. So my first thing I do when I wake up, I thank God for just waking me up. I thank God for just having another day. So my number 1 step is gratitude. So my number 2 step, I played a lot of basketball, and so I have to stretch while I'm in bed before I get up. Like, I just have to. And so the number 2 step is going to be self-care. So the number 3 step, it's a little different, but the way I approach it is I swing my legs over out of the bed. And so I look at it as left foot, right foot, okay? And so throughout the day, I'm really taking a runner's mentality approach through the day. Just left foot, right foot, okay? And we don't want to pay too much attention to the past, right? Because that gets you depressed. But if you're wanting to run forward, we can't look back. Like, that's not going to be, that's really slow. And then also, I can't be looking at my destination either, because I really don't know my destination. I know where it might be, so I need to really just choose a direction. But when I so focus on the destination, that's where you get anxious and it causes anxiety. And so the secret sauce is the present, because that's the gift. And so honestly, throughout the rest of the day, it's left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, just like a runner. And I'm not looking out, I'm just picking the direction. Now, so the number 3 step is just going to be movement. Just move. All the time that I was like, some people maybe say I had a bad mindset when I was through those 18 years or whatever, they didn't understand. All I was trying to do was create some type of movement, so that movement created momentum. So that's why movement is so important. And so this number 4 step is going to really sum it up, because you have to be adaptable. And so if you look at it from the runner's mentality, things happen, life happens. You're going to get that unexpected bill. Someone's going to get fired. A family member is going to pass away. And so I look at them as potholes while I'm running my journey. And so my goal is just to swerve, right? Just move a little bit. And so those things are going to come across us, but we just have to move. We have to swerve. We have to take them. And that doesn't mean don't validate it either. And so that's how I live my life. That's the lesson that I had to learn. I had to learn how to overcome these obstacles and challenges. And they weren't small challenges either. Most people would still be at that wall. The diagnosis, I struggled at times, but I also at the very first 4 to 5 years, I was like, how do I get better? I tried different things, and none of them worked because I didn't have that diagnosis. So maybe if I went vegan, like I did for a few months, it doesn't matter, because it wouldn't have changed that core issue. And so there was times where I just needed to move that day. And so I just want to share, but if you take those principles right there and you apply them to your life, you're starting a day pretty well. So just gratitude, self-care, movement, adaptability. And I'll have a link to a PDF that I'll give that to all your listeners.
That would be fantastic. I love how you summarized and all these steps that start your day with gratitude, right? Count your blessings, and you're already looking ahead in the day, and with more passion, that you want to do the things because you already have, gratitude for the things that you have. You've woken up, right? You slept on this comfortable bed. You had a roof on your head, and you have your body, your health, right? You got another chance on life for today. This is such a beautiful perspective to wake up with every single day. And most of the people, when we forget that perspective, that's when we feel depressed. That's when we feel lost in our life. And if we only can remember this small, it's small, but its impact is so huge that we can't even, describe it here. So I love that. And then self-care. We must, when we say gratitude for our body, for our health, the next step is to keep taking care of ourselves, of our body, so we continue to live this life and enjoy the life that God has given us, to pursue our passion, pursue our purpose, and living in the present moment. Of course, it's one step in front of the other, left foot, right foot. I'm never going to forget that. This is such a beautiful way of remembering what you said, that you put your right foot in front of the left and the left in front of the right, and that's how you move in life. And you can move mountains if you have that kind of perspective towards life, towards experiences, and everything that you do in your life, and being open to being adaptable to life's experiences and what happens in life, because as you said, things, life does happen for us and to us, but the sweet spot is where we turn that into, we take the responsibility and we make it happen the way we want it to happen. Right? Because life is happening all around us. The universe is always there at our service for us to create the life that we want to create. We are powerful creators, and that's what we believe as human beings. We are the most powerful creators of our own reality. So we have to take the initiative. We have to take the responsibility, get out there and make our dreams our reality. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Such a powerful message. I appreciate you, man. Shahzaib, what do you say?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with what Dwayne said, and it's a powerful message indeed. For me, I would say the one thing that I've taken away and I apply it to my daily life would be giving your 100%, giving your best to whatever it is you're doing. And that starts by being present in the moment. When you're training, you're just training. You're not worried about, oh, I gotta pay him, I gotta do this, I gotta do my classes, I have this assignment, I have this. No. When you're training on the field, you're just training. You're just a footballer, that's all you are, or whatever sport you're playing. So that's number one, being present in the moment. And then another thing that comes with giving your 100% is realizing that giving your best isn't always going to be giving your 100%. What I mean by that is that you just have to try to do your best. Sometimes that's going to be 30%, 40%, sometimes it's going to be 100%. But as long as you're giving everything you have, as long as you're leaving everything on the field or on the court, you've done your best, right? And the reason why I think that's so important is because what it eliminates is regret. What it eliminates is confusion. It eliminates questions for the future that, man, if I tried more, I would have done better. Maybe if I, was actually mentally present instead of regretting over maybe some past mistake or reminiscing over something that had happened a few days ago, I would have done this better. So it eliminates that regret. And I think regret is so heavy. It's not spoken about a lot, but it's a very heavy weight to carry on your shoulders, And in almost every sport, it requires 100% attention. And so if you're able to be there 100%, if you're able to be present for a sport, you can also take that and apply that to your real life. You can be 100% present when it's someone you love, going through something tragic, right? Someone you love going through a good moment, achieving something, going through a big achievement or celebrating something. You're always there. And so I think that not only is a healthy mindset to have, but it also helps you create more and better memories, because you're always present. You won't look back at a really important moment of your life and be like, yeah, but I wish I was more present instead of reminiscing about a past incident. And so I think that's something that I carry with me every single day is being 100% present and also giving your 100% to whatever it is you're doing. Uh, Being absolute, or at least the best version of absolute that you can bring out. I think that's what I would like to highlight the most.
So
Wow.
I just want to say something. Like these are
Sure.
great points. So again, mindset person. So
Right.
when you train, you're self-disciplined, but also like I tell people all the time, I train because like I believe that you practice how you're going to play the game. That's what
Absolutely.
most people will say, right? I believe you practice like it's a championship game. And so you make those championship games only feel like practice. So you come up with that. So I Mr. Show Up to Win, like that's my company. But show up to win means I'm showing up to something with an intention. So when I go to this board meeting, I'm showing up with the intention of like getting stuff done,
Right.
finding a way to elevate it. Same thing, I tell my athletes all the time, show up to your practice with the intention of this practice right here, you might learn something that actually like clicks that you take off and go play on Sundays or you go play in the NBA. And I feel like that's really important is when an athlete realizes that, because everything gets so monotonous, but you're just that close to like elevating yourself to a little bit more. So I would just say whenever you go to your training, like really, really like focus on if I do this either quicker, faster, and harder, what am I going to learn? Like, don't just go. I feel like practices came into these drills and these steps, and really that doesn't apply to the game. Like, but if you go as hard as you can, you learn what your limitations are, and those limitations get shorter and shorter and shorter. So,
True. Definitely. No, I definitely agree because I think, that the thing you said that you train how you play, even if you take that sentence away, that concept of, giving your 100%, because you can't just go from training mediocre to playing really well. That aspect of really giving everything has to be present in practice a little bit, which is why I think a lot of the professional athletes that we see, if you ever see their training clips, is that you can see the same movements, the same kind of replications in their training that you will see in their games. You don't see much difference. And I think what you're saying is absolutely right, that if your mindset is similar for a championship game versus training, it will help a lot. Also because I think, and this is something I used to struggle with, you won't get as nervous because you won't just see training as this everyday activity and then a game as this big monster that you have to conquer. No, you'll just see that I'm playing whatever sport I'm playing when I'm training, and then I'm playing whatever sport I'm playing when it's a game. The only difference is that, this game is maybe a bit more regulated, it's a bit more official, it has a record, that's it. Other than that, when you really break it down to like the most basic steps, it's the sport you love and you're playing it. That's it. So I think what you highlighted is really beneficial for especially athletes. So yeah, thank you for that.
absolutely.
Wow. And what you guys just, highlighted, it's so important to learn for myself personally, practice with purpose, right? Because right now and throughout my time since I came to America, I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but when I came to America, I did not speak English. I thought I did, but I didn't, because I came from Pakistan, and in Pakistan we write English and we read English, right? But we do not have the opportunity or the environment to practice our English speaking, I mean. So when I came to America, and I thought, okay, it's not going to be hard for me. I know English already, so I will just navigate life very smoothly. But when I started to talk with people on a very basic level, day-to-day life, I thought I couldn't find even the right vocabulary. My English, I would just forget everything because I was translating in my head and trying to talk at the same time. And I offended so many people. So that put me on a journey to get better with my speaking, speaking English confidently, and even becoming a public speaker. So right now I'm a public speaker, and that the whole time I was practicing, and I was practicing at different levels. First, I was practicing just to have this conversation with people on everyday life, right? And I got better with that. And then I started to work on practicing with the goal of becoming a public speaker. That was second level. And the third level was practicing with the goal to have this podcast. And I still get nervous, but at least I was unconsciously able to apply the formula that you guys are talking about. Oh my gosh, it's just so amazing that what you were talking about and you guys are using in your sports on the field, it's so translatable that I have been able to use that in my life, right? And I think everybody can do this, whatever they're doing in their life. They're trying to achieve a certain goal, trying to get better at something. They can use this mindset of practicing with purpose, seeing themselves, getting ready for that end goal that they have in their mind. And that will make a whole lot of difference. The way they get ready, the way they are practicing, the way they are doing everything around that skill that they're building. So thank you so much. This is exactly what I mean when I say the spirit of, translating the skills that you learn on the field into your practical life. And that's why I encourage people, every single one, if you are an adult person, please bring sports into your life if you already are not into this. And if you have kids, if you have siblings, introduce them to the sports, because it's such an important avenue for us to learn practical skills and being able to apply those skills in your life at times when nothing else works. Whatever you have learned from sports, you can bring it into your life, and your life becomes so much easier, and you navigate life with much more confidence and ease, and get on the other side as a more successful person, stronger. So with that, I would ask Dwayne, I know you work with people, you mentioned some resources. I would love for you to share where our audience can reach out and look for those resources and connect with you.
Okay, so as of the recording, showuptowin.com has not officially launched. So I have another website so it's going to launch on the 1st of February. But there's a website that I have just to get the contact information. It's called showuptowin.info, I-N-F-O. And so show up to win, the 2 is the number 2. And so, I'm looking for anyone who, my core that I'm looking for, my ideal audience would be someone who is an athlete or an ex-athlete that has went through some type of adversity, like a diagnosis, a divorce, something that the inner fire went out and that they need relit. But I'm going to tell you, I'm Mr. Show Up to Win. I want you to show up with intention. I do not want you to expect that the minimum. I don't want minimum people. I'll put it that way. And I feel like when you want to just do minimum, you're probably not the person for me, but you're also, it's going to be more difficult to get you the results that you deserve. And so when I had my knee surgery, they told me to do 50 leg raises. I did 150 instead of 50 at a time. Just like I want him to be, a pro footballer.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for saying that. And it's beautiful that as a coach or as a mentor, what you can do for others is help them see their blind spots, because sometimes, we are working on ourselves in whichever area of life, but there are certain blind spots that we are not able to see and work on them. And a coach, a mentor who has been through that journey themselves, they are able to see that. And that brings me to the point where, Shahzaib, I love how you're working with little kids who are soccer players, aspiring soccer players of tomorrow. What is your experience working with them, and what inspired you to work with those kids? Because I know it's not easy to work with those young kids, and they're hard even to pass on instructions or train them in any way. What does that look like for you? How that journey started? Give us an insight on that.
So the way the journey started is that I had a coach who I was under for my under 19 team. I was playing there after my high school, before college, and so that coach actually gave me a referral to the team that I now work with. It's actually a non-profit organization called Manhattan Soccer Club. And so they have teams of multiple years. They'll have under 19, under 17, under 15. And I coach an under 8 team. They're 2017, so they're under 8. And what inspired me to work with that is a couple of things. First of all, obviously, it's football or soccer as we call it here. And so I want to be around the sport that I love, and hopefully make that into an actual career, which is still in the works, of course. And another thing was that I thought that, I felt that I had taken a lot, I'd learned a lot from people, and I wanted to give back, even if it was in a little, in a very small manner. If I can teach someone else to be a better football player, and so they can be a better player than what I am at my age, I would feel like I've passed the torch on, so to speak. And so it was the feeling of, okay, I want to teach someone else how to also be a great football player, because just me being good enough isn't enough for me. So it was that, plus of course, like I said, the sport that I love that got me into coaching. And so to tell you how it is working with the kids, it's definitely not the easiest thing, I would say. Of course, they're young, and so they're very energetic. um, and some of them, are I'm not gonna say difficult to work with, because they're a bundle of joy. They really are. But some of them, take multiple takes, I would say. You got to tell them again and again. So they're definitely, they're lovely to work with. They're always energetic. They're always, up for a challenge, which is something I really admire. Even though they're kids, I hope they're able to keep this one quality throughout their life. And everyone is, that you're always up for a challenge. You're always at least curious towards what the challenge is before you just turn it down. And seeing them progress, because I've been working with them for quite a few months now, seeing them progress and seeing them go from where they were when I started working with them versus where they are now, it really is the biggest moving factor. It moves you. It's the biggest motivation you could ever have, seeing the progress, seeing them not make the mistakes they used to, and seeing them specifically do better in areas that I focused on. That's the biggest thing. That, like, oh, I taught him how to do that. Oh, I told him to make this one change and do better, and now he is doing better. I think that just makes your entire week, really. So it's been great so far, and I'm looking forward to turning this into a career if I can, God willing. Next year I want to work with preferably either an older team or maybe multiple teams if I'm still going to be in the under 8 section of the soccer club. But we'll see. But yeah, so far it's been great. I'm very grateful for the opportunity I've been given, and I couldn't be happier with the job that I have.
Thank
Wow.
you.
This
Thank
is
you. No, I
absolutely
just want
phenomenal,
so
and if you could just pursue what you really love and you're passionate about as a career in your
Yeah,
life. So I see that you're very fortunate in that, and God willing, you will get
luckily.
what you are aspiring to, becoming and
Yeah.
getting to work with in your
Dwayne,
life.
Dwayne, you were going to say something?
no, so I wanted to say thank you. Like I want you to really hear this. Like thank you, because here's the problem with youth sports right now
Hmm.
is we don't have the ex-athletes coming in, like the ones that they know can play, right?
Right.
It's usually the older parent and the ones that could play or like in the past. But the kids, they don't get that they don't have that understanding that, like I'll be honest, my niece is 14. She's a pretty good player, but like there's times where she'll listen to me and there's times she doesn't. And like I'm like I know this stuff, like I've learned this stuff, I can pass it to you. She doesn't want to learn it from me, but like if she had someone who was your age, who she had seen growing up, same thing, those kids, they know. That's what the other thing. And you sports, I'm not a fan of AU. Like I'll just go ahead and tell you, like it's a way, it's a way of corruption and way to make money off of little kids' dreams. And I'm really glad I didn't have to go through that process. And so I just want to say thank you, man. You're going through a very, whether it's 8U or not, those kids are there and they love the game to a point, but they just haven't understood their passion for it.
Right.
And so here's
Of
the
course.
other thing is what's going to be fun is 5, 6, 7, maybe 20 years down the road, you're going to run into one of those kids and that kid's going to say, I appreciate you so much for doing this. I learned so much. And then that's really where the reward is.
Right.
So coaching is a really difficult thing, especially youth sports, because it's usually from a volunteer perspective. So you have no power. You bench the one kid because he doesn't play well and he doesn't listen, and then you get all the other parents mad. Well, why didn't this kid play? So I'm just letting you know there's a lot of different things, aspects of it. But as long as you go in it with that purpose of like, hey, I want this kid to come out with a life lesson, then that's it. I mean, and if they are become a better soccer player, that's great. But really, it's the life lesson, man, that you're teaching. But that 1 to 8 year old range is such a impactful age. So like you have a chance to really, really, really impact those kids' lives. So I just want to say thank you.
No, I appreciate that.
100% gratitude toward that.
I appreciate the sweet words. Thank you. It really means a lot.
Yeah, and to Dwayne's point, I have experienced this when, from a very young age, I started tutoring even my own class fellows and then younger kids. And then there are times when I'm visiting my hometown back in Pakistan and I come across someone, who's a grown-up woman in her life, and she would stop and recognize me and thank me for the way I taught them and the impact that I had on their life, even if it was very small time. For example, I would teach those students during the summer break 3 times of the summer vacation, and the way I taught them, I think I'm a born educator or a teacher, so I have a passion for teaching others whatever I have, and that was the reason why I started this platform, because initially the purpose was only me sharing my journey and the skills that I have learned over these 4 decades of my life, because I believe everything I have learned, I learned from this world, and I want to give it back before I pass on, or I leave this world. I don't want to die with all of that in my head. So that's the way. And you come across people who have learned, even if you were able to inspire them or teach them something very small that made a huge impact in their life. That is a huge moment, and you feel accomplished already, even if it's just one person. And I'm so glad that both of you are working along the same line with that same passion to make an impact on other people's life and teaching them what you already know, what has made your life beautiful and the lessons that you have learned. And you are in that state of gratefulness and the gratitude that you want to pass on those skills, those lessons to others, so they can become better version, grow up as somebody stronger than if they didn't have you in their life, they wouldn't be able to. I'm intrigued from the very beginning. Shahzaib, I see those pairs of shoes right behind you. What does those shoes mean? Because the way you have set them up, it definitely means something. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, maybe?
Surely, yeah. So these pairs right behind me, these are more so collectibles than the ones I've worn myself. These are almost all from 2017 or prior, so they're all quite old now. But other than just playing football, I also have a love for the cleats, especially the ones they made back in the day. I think they looked better in my opinion. So I collected a few of them and I just have them set up here. And that ball right there is the match ball from the 2014 World Cup. So I have that. And then the ball right under it, the white one, if you can see, is the match ball of the league that I play in. They have their own custom balls. And so these are mostly just collectibles, but the cleats that I myself have played in, and now they're broken and they're, they can't be used anymore. I also have those saved because I suppose one day, maybe 10, 20 years, 30 years down the line, I would like to sit back and look at all the cleats that I myself wore throughout this journey, and all the videos or pictures that I have of myself playing football, teaching football, just being, present in the sport. So yeah, that's what these all mean.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
This is so beautiful because as human beings, all we really collect in this life is the experiences and the memories, right?
Right.
I heard a wise teacher saying that we come into this world empty-handed and we leave this world empty-handed. Nothing really goes with us except for the memories and the experience that we have collected. So this is so beautiful how you associate your memories and your time with these physical elements and the collectibles. They are beautiful. Thank
So,
you. Yeah, Dwayne, any last words that you want to say to our audience? What advice you both have for them? Please go ahead, and after that, we will call it a day.
Yeah. So the first thing I would tell people is to begin. Like that's really the first thing is to begin with that idea that you're wanting to do, that business, that girl that you're wanting to ask out, like that guy that someone wants to ask out. Same thing. Begin. And when you begin, that's when you actually find out if that stuff is aligned with you, and if it's aligned with you, then it's probably you're going to receive it. But if it's not aligned with you, you're going to realize that it's going to reject you. And so when you go through the path with that type of mindset, it's like out trying things that are out of your comfort zone because you want to know if you could have them or you're not supposed to have them. The universe, God, whatever other people want to call it, like it'll get you where it wants you to get. So here's the beautiful, very ironic, very funny part of my story. When I was 19 years old and I played basketball, I spoke in front of a lot of people. People said I was a really good speaker. I didn't want to be a speaker. Now, fast forward all this time, I'm going to be 48 years old here in 2 months. I'm looking at being a podcast guest or a podcast host. I'm looking at being a speaker. All these things, like even when it's like the tire on a car. You can't go straight if your tires are out of the line. You're going to be swerving. You're going to be holding to go the other direction, right? And so it's just alignment. But you have to begin. Begin is the first phase. And if you think about it, 90% of people don't ever begin, and that's usually why, they're stuck in their own worry and stuff.
Shahzaib, building on Dwayne's point, have you asked the girl out that you wanted to in your life?
No, building on Dwayne's point, no, he's absolutely right about starting, because I also read this quote a while ago, that even a 10,000-mile journey starts with one step, and it often is the case that the first step is the hardest to take because there's no momentum. There's no experience, there's no trial and error, there's nothing, and I think that's the scariest part that puts a lot of people off, is that you don't know what's gonna happen. After maybe 5,000 steps, what's gonna happen. You've been here 5,000 times, but the first step is always so hard because you don't know what's in it for you. You don't know what you're gonna go through, what you're gonna experience, and so I think it takes a lot of bravery and courage and nerve to take that first step, but it's also the most rewarding because it's what starts the entire journey. It's what starts the momentum, gets the cogs in the machine going, so to speak. And so I think what I would like to leave everyone with is, again, the thing that I took from sports myself and I apply to everything, is that give your best. Just focus on giving your best. Focus on doing what's in your control, and focus on what's in your control in general. How you react to certain situations, how your emotions are, how when someone does something to you, what's your reaction? Focus on your reaction, because you're never going to be able to control what someone else does to you or what someone else says to you. Try to focus on yourself, give your 100%, be present, and again, going off something Dwayne earlier mentioned, be grateful, because it's free, first of all, and with time, it will become an easier thing to do. Maybe it's not easy to be grateful where you are now. You're like, what do I have to be grateful for? But if you try, over time, you'll start seeing things that you do have to be grateful for, right and left. You'll start seeing them everywhere. So try to be grateful, try to be present, and just do your best, because your best really is all you can do. So just do your best. That's it.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your conversation here. It's so powerful and so motivating for me. It's middle of the day and I'm already feeling like on fire for my next recording. So I enjoyed it thoroughly and I learned so much. And it was a moment, the whole time I was introspecting on my journey and the experiences that I had. And I hope our audience learned so much and they enjoyed this conversation just as much as I did. So building on what both of you said is just start wherever you are, take the first step, right? Don't even try to think about making it perfect. Just do it, and the momentum will build. At least you will break the inertia that you have right now. So start walking towards your dreams, and your dreams will be attracted towards you. This is how I believe the universe works. Whatever you are wishing for, whatever you are wanting, that thing is also wanting you. And the moment you start working on acting upon, on your action plan, your dreams start to become reality. And before even you know it, it will manifest for you. So keep blooming and chase your dreams and live with passion. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you like this episode. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.